Is it true that those that preach the loudest often have the most to hide? Well, I guess in the case of Neil Gaiman, we are about to find out. Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle, and that's right, exclusive. Neil Gaiman accused of sexual assault. And Neil Gaiman, one of the most renowned storytellers of my generation, and honestly, the last couple generations, known for his work on Sandman, American Gods, Coraline, also a self-proclaimed feminist, absolutely loved the big daddy corporate government bootlicking when it came to how COVID was handled, mask up, make sure everyone wears masks, and of course was very, very rude to anybody who is ideologically opposed to him on a political basis, now being accused of being the very thing that he swore to loathe oh so much. So we're going to get into this article. Before we do, hit that subscribe button. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news almost every day, and I don't like to cover this. I don't want to cover this because at the end of the day, yes, I cannot stand these types of individuals, those holier-than-thou individuals who think that their way of viewing the world, whether it be through a political or ideological lens, makes them so much better than all those other nasty, evil istophobes on the other side of the aisle. But I don't want this to be true, not because I care about Neil Gaiman or his legacy or his books or his stories, although to be fair, he has got some great books and stories, and in my opinion, if this turns out to be true, none of that will be diminished. I mean, American Gods, Sandman, Coraline, the three that I named are the ones that I personally love. Those will always be great stories regardless. However, no, I don't want this to be true, because if it is, that means there were individuals that were, harmed in some way, shape, or form that led this to be true, that led this to be coming out. However, I'm also a large proponent of innocent until proven guilty, something that I don't know and frankly don't believe he would give to a vast majority of other individuals based on certain statements he's made in the past. Statements that we're going to take a look at after we cover the article. So again, hit that subscribe button, and just remember, as much as we might dislike this guy because frankly, he is an arrogant psychopath when it comes to his politics and the way he absolutely loathes anything and everything conservative, that is not a good enough reason to want this to be true, to want to forsake the idea of innocent until proven guilty. Just wanted to get that out of the way before we cover the article and some of his past exploits on X. Yep, here he is, old Neil boy looking like discount Tim Burton. Neil Gaiman has been accused of sexual assault by two women with whom he was in consensual relationships and is the subject of a police complaint in New Zealand. Gaiman's position is that he strongly denies any allegations of non-consensual sex with women and adds New Zealand's police did not take up his offer of assistance over one woman's complaint in 2022, which he says reflects its lack of substance. Now, it says he strongly denies these accusations, as he should, because again, innocent until proven guilty, and I think all of us should give him that benefit of the doubt. But it's interesting because he did kind of post this to X back in 2018. On a day like today, it's worth saying, I believe survivors. Men must not close our eyes and minds to what happens to women in this world. We must fight alongside them, for them to be believed at the ballot box and with art and by listening, and change this world for the better. There are so many women whose innocence is not presumed when it comes to the matters of sexual assault and rape. If I were to report a burglary, I hope the police would begin from a point of view that I've been burgled, and that it was not something to be pushed down, ignored, and that it should be discouraged from addressing, and my own innocence will be taken for granted. It's funny you say that. Do you want us to believe you or these women? Are you okay with just being labeled as a sexual assaulter or as a potential rapist? No, I imagine you're not. That is why you are strongly denying any of the allegations. So now that this has come for you, now that these allegations have come for you, Neil, you are changing your tune. It was so easy to be sanctimonious, so self-righteous back in 2018, back at the height of Me Too, when all this was going on. But now that it's come for you, when it may or may not be true, yeah, your tune changed a little bit, didn't it? It's funny how that works. So again, while I am absolutely going to presume your innocence, because that is what we do, we're going to stick to our conventions, we're going to stick to being morally and philosophically consistent when it comes to innocent until proven guilty, maybe now you will have a new appreciation for what it is that me and so many of us, in my point of view, my shoes, have been talking about on the internet for so long. Somehow I highly doubt you will see the irony, despite the fact that you are a writer that has used irony to great effect in the past, but I feel like, again, it's worth noting. However, New Zealand police say it made a number of attempts to speak to key people as part of this investigation, and those efforts remain ongoing. Adding to that, there are a number of factors to take into consideration with this case, including location of all parties. The allegations span 2 decades and concern young women who came into contact with Gaiman, the 63-year-old best-selling author of Sandman, Good Omens, American Gods, as a nanny to his child and as a fan of his writing. I mean, I mean, you're making the Arnold Schwarzenegger playbook, really? You going after the nanny and a young fan? I'm just saying, Vit Mignogna was canceled for far less, though that's my take on the matter. But yes, note that these are several-year-old allegations, at least in one instance, a 20-year-old allegation, and you know that doesn't sit right with your boy Leon here. I ain't a fan of individuals coming out with allegations years after the fact when, things are much more difficult to prove, when at this point it's just he said, she said. But again, that's the world we live in now. That's the type of world that you helped foster and create with all of your political leanings, with using your power, your sway, your sphere of influence as being one of the most notoriety, a writer with the most notoriety in the world for a couple of generations. The women's allegations were first reported on Tortoise's podcast, Master, the Allegations Against Neil Gaiman, released on Wednesday. The 4-part series examines the women's accounts of rough and degrading sex with the author, which they say was not always consensual. Now, I will say, if it was not always consensual, that means at time it was. And I mean, to be fair, what does that lead to the direction of thinking of? Is this a case of the dude would occasionally have sex with him because they would let him, or the dude would occasionally rape him because, they didn't let him, or is it a case of, oh, look, there's people still trying to squeeze every last drop out of Me Too before it goes the way of the dinosaur in 2024, now that it's looking like the libs are crumbling. The entire left-leaning ideology is crumbling under itself. It's really interesting that the time these allegations are coming out is when we are seeing a complete and utter destruction of that ideology the world over. When you see Elon Musk buying X and free speech becoming tantamount, when you see individuals like Javier Milei with a libertarian mindset starting to turn turning that entire country's economy around with these libertarian policies, when you start seeing individuals in Europe who have been far more, let's just say, embracing of left-leaning ideology, when you start seeing them reject it openly in the streets, rioting as a rejection of that, those policies, those political policies coming forth. Yeah, this stuff is breaking now. I don't know. To me, this seems like it could be a workup. Although the vast majority of cases of sexual assault happen within relationships, most allegations go unreported and therefore unprosecuted because of the expectation that alleged victims would not be in a relationship with their alleged assailant. While the law says the consent for each and every individual sexual act, many people assume that a relationship provides ongoing consent. Scarlett, 23, alleges that Gaiman sexually assaulted her within hours of their first meeting in February 2022. So this one is not nearly 20 years old, apparently. Never mind. This is a far more recent one. And by the way, which would be after he made this incredibly white knighting post from 2018. I just kind of find that funny. In a bath in his New Zealand residence, where she worked as a nanny to his child. Tortoise understands that Gaiman's account is that they only cuddled and made out in the bath. They really made out? I mean, I know I've already read this, but you're making out with, do I have a picture of him pulled up? Oh man, he's wearing a mask in this one. Trust me, the dude's not a good-looking guy. Oh yeah, here we go. I had this one right here. New Zealand women have some standards. That's all I'm saying. In a bath that established consent for this. His position is that over the 3-week sexual relationship that followed, they only ever engaged in consensual digital penetration. Now, your boy is not smart enough to know what digital penetration is. That's a very odd statement, but whatever. I'm at this point, I'm sure I don't want to know with how degenerate the modern world is. Scarlett alleges that within the otherwise consensual relationship, Gaiman engaged in rough and degrading penetrative sexual acts with her. Tortoise, see, it sounds to me like she just didn't like his freaky as hell kinks and fetishes, and if you've read his books, yeah, I can imagine the dude has some pretty kinky as hell fetishes. Tortoise had been contemporaneous messages, notes, and spoken with friends who Scarlett talked to at the time, which supports her allegations. The second woman, Kay, was 18 when she met Gaiman at a book signing in Sarasota, Florida in 2003. So 21 years ago. She was 18 and then began a romantic relationship with him when she turned 20 and Gaiman was in his mid-40s. Now, there is nothing necessarily morally wrong with that. There's age gaps in relationships all the time. I will say, that's a bit creepy. She meets you at a signing when she's 18. You guys start dating 2 years later. That's a little groomy. I get it. She wasn't underage, so everything is technically on the up and up. But that's still pretty weird. But alleges that she submitted to rough and painful sex that she neither wanted nor enjoyed. Now, your enjoyment is not a factor. I'm gonna be real, ladies. If she submitted to it, Her enjoyment is not a factor. Plenty of women have been in sexual positions. Let's be real, they didn't enjoy due to the man's incompetence. Now, how painful it was, whether she agreed to it. You could say she didn't want it. If she did not want it, why again now, 20 years later? Why not even at the height of Me Too, when everyone was coming out with these sorts of stories? Again, that's a little sus, and I don't like Neil Gaiman, but again, I gotta be philosophically consistent here. In one incident, she alleges that Gaiman penetrated her despite her asking him not to do so, as she was suffering from a painful infection. God, that is disgusting. Gaiman's position is that he denies any unlawful behavior with Kay and is disturbed by her allegations. Yes, you should be disturbed by her allegations, but remember, Neil, one day, on a day like today, as we're saying that you do believe survivors. You say that. You believe survivors. And that you, as a man, must not close your eyes and your mind to what happened to the women in this world, specifically these two women. We must fight alongside them. You must fight alongside them for them to be believed at the ballot box with art and by listening and change the world for the better. Again, these are your words. Do you want us to presume you innocent? Because I do. But maybe, again, just maybe, this will change your tune going forward about how there are, in fact, individuals out there that could quite possibly want to ruin individuals' lives over fake accusations, over fake sexual assault claims, or fake rape claims, whatever they may be, whether it be for some sort of financial security, whether that just be because they are vindictive individuals, whether it be because they want to ruin your reputation because you slighted them, you broke their heart, whatever it may be. I think that our boy Camelot has a great thought on this, and pretty much the exact same as mine. I feel like I'm saying this monthly. The ones that are the biggest believe all women types and forcibly align themselves with that always end up being guilty of the very thing they're against. But unlike Gaiman, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because I'm not him. Just brilliantly put by my boy Camelot. But what else? What are some of the stuff that Gaiman has said? If you go for a vacation and ask for if you go in for vaccination and ask for special vaccination, they give you the one that works against COVID, the kind Donald Trump had, and not the microchip one that makes you magnetic. To give you the regular, they give the regular sheeple. It's a secret the elite do not want you to know. He being absolutely just so dismissive of anybody that had any concerns about the COVID vaccine. Or what about this one here, where he's just painfully, I just had my first COVID vaccination. I'm in COVID-free New Zealand where they aren't in a hurry. Now 20 minutes of observation before I'm allowed out into the world. Talking Heads Psycho Killers playing. Feeling like a weight has lifted from my shoulders. Roll on July 20th and shot number 2. God, this is the type of individual we're dealing about. Again, like I said in the intro, those that scream the loudest often have the most to hide. But just because that is often the case does not mean that we should jump to those beliefs, jump to those accusations. Again, we can't be sitting here trying to accuse Neil Gaiman of sexual assault or sit here and just assume that it's true purely because he has politics and ideologies that are different than ours, because that is the game the left plays, that is the game that the wokies play, that is the game that those shitlibs play, and I ain't about that life. So I'm here to say, you know what, I'm going to presume Neil Gaiman's innocence until we get more information, and I'm thus far looking at this with skepticism. Is it something that could be true? Absolutely. Could he be a disgusting degenerate that hurt these women? Yes, he could, but by God, I hope that's not true, because even though I would love to see the up-ins come for those that are just so deranged and have such a fantastical view of the world that they want to see the individuals like us, those that have just common sense and believe in equal rights for all, they want to see us destroyed in the wake of their new upcoming worldview. I don't want to see this individual, be proven to have done these nasty things if it means some other individuals got hurt. But those are just my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments down below, or let me know on X, where you can find me at Bolt the Word. And please do subscribe. I am a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day. Not always about comic books or authors, but anime, movies, music, Magic the Gathering, you name it. Check me out on Instagram at wordsofparadise_Leon and become a member for $4.99 a month. You can join the Discord, choose the articles I go over on a day-to-day basis, choose the videos I react to on my Friday night live streams, and of course, get involved in the discourse with over 70 other vital idols. It is a bright, beautiful, glowing, vibrant community that I cannot wait to grow even further, because we do care about diversity, but only one kind of diversity of thought. So if you like that, hit the Discord, hit the subscribe button. Happy 4th of July to my American brethren, and remember, it is all here in the nerdosphere. This has been Words of Paradise.